Hello and welcome to the Dialogflow tutorial today. We will build a chatbot using Dialogflow. So let's go and click to this Dialogflow link on our presentation. And that takes us to the Dialogflow site. Let's click on this Go to Console on the right corner of this web page. Now let's sign in with our Google account. So as I sign in, it asks me to allow certain services. So let us allow these services, inbuilt Google services. Now let's select the country information here. And yes, I have read the agreement and let's accept. Now as a first step in this chatbot creation, we need to create an agent. So let's create an agent. So let's name the agent test trip planner as we did in the presentation. So the agent is getting created now. So once the agent is created, we will start creating the intents. So the agent is created now. Let's go to this page just to view our agent getting created. So we see that test trip planner is already in here. So let's go to the intent and let's start creating an intent for this agent. Click on create intent. As a first step, let's provide a name for this intent. I'm going to say this book flight and click on save. So our intent is saved now, and let's go and create our training phrases for this intent. So click on add training phrases. So let's say the scenario is that we want to book a flight ticket from city A to city B on a specified date. So I want to book a flight from Atlanta to Paris on, let's say, November 30 and click enter. So now what happens is that as I give the training phrase, Google with its own NLP algorithm detects the locations to be the city information. So we see here Atlanta, Paris to be detected as GeoCity and GeoCity 1. Now the date information is also being detected as we give the training phrases. This is done by the inbuilt algorithm of Google. And we can give as many training phases as we want to make sure the chatbot is trained enough. Let's say reserve a flight on November 30 from London to New York. As we see here, we see that the GeoCity 1 is recognized to be London. However, New York hasn't recognized. So what we do in this case is that we just select this information here and let's tag this to GeoCity 1. So this way we can add specific information to our training phrases if it is not recognized by the Google inbuilt algorithm. We can add as many training phrases as we want. Let's say book flight on September 20 from Atlanta to Tampa. Alright, So we have created a couple of training phrases. Now let's go and create our action parameters. So action parameters is the information which we provide to make sure that mandatory fields have been entered by the user as they use the chatbots. So in this case, if you want to book a flight, our from and to destination becomes the mandatory field as well as the date information. We could add like as many action parameters as we want. Like accordingly, we need to give our training phrases and the parameters mandate fields as well. Now I have selected GeoCity 1 and the date as the mandatory field in this case. So let's go ahead and do the next step, which is adding a response. So once the user provides the required information, what happens is that we imagine this intent goes and callbacks to the service at the Google or connects to the respective APIs, which we will see in the later tutorials. And then based on the feedback from the APIs, it's going to give a text response whether it's successful or not. So in case if it is successful, so what we would do is we provide a response. So done your flight. Let's say on, and let's provide the date information. So here the $date is the value. So we need to have the value information in our text response. So let's say $date from $GeoCity, this is the from destination, to $GeoCity 1, this is the to destination, is booked. Enter. So now we have created a response, we have created an intent and also a training phrase for these chatbot test script planner. So our first intent has all those building blocks, the basic building blocks ready. Now we have the agent created, we have our intent created for that agent, and we have also provided the training phases and the action parameters with the response. So now we are all good to save this. Let's save. So the intent is saved. Now let's go ahead and do a quick check if our chatbot is working fine. So I would say in the try it now section, let's imagine to be a user now using the chatbot, and I want to book a flight. So now it asks for what is the GeoCity. So that is our from destination. So let's say Tampa to Atlanta on September 30. So that gives the default response of done, your flight ticket on this date from Tampa to Atlanta is booked. So that is a demonstration of a simple chatbot. So we have few more updates here which we can do if we want. So what we do is we have a default intents like our fallback intent or welcome intent. So these are intents just to make sure your chatbot is providing the right response when there is a break in the behavior, or if the user provides an input which is not familiar to the chatbot. So in the case of welcome intent, so let's say I would also like to save this. In addition to that, we also have a small talk intent, which is kind of a user-friendly messages to the chatbots, to the user. So I would also like to enable this for all my agents so that the user is being given with a courtesy and an emotional reply to their messages. So that is a simple demonstration of chatbot. So we could also go ahead and add more intents if we want. Let's say this test planner, we could add intents like if we want to extend the chatbot functionality to, let's say, creating we did a flight booking so far, and how about like booking a room, and provide the necessary training phrases for that. So let's say if I want to book a room, I would probably say book a room on November 10th from, let's say, book a single room on November 10th. Oops, I think I did a mistake here. So let's say book a single room on November 10th. So now the single room is not something the Google algorithm would realize, because like let's say this to be a specific information on the type of the room. So we need to create an entity type saying a type of room, and then like we need to add other information like a single room or a double room accordingly. So we need to create the training phases after creating those entities, and like make the action and the parameters which are mandatory for that particular information. And then like we can also loop back these entities one to one, which we will see in the upcoming tutorials. So that's it for a basic bot creation using Dialog. Thank you.